have there that's been given to us to raise those babies and then to teach them about the ways of God, that when they grow old, listen, that they'll be faithful to the Lord. They can not only know Him as Savior, but they'll live for Him. Let me plead with us this morning. Let's be faithful to that God has given us to do. Mary was a faithful mother. There were many things that happened in the life of Jesus. And really what we've got record of is about 12 years old. But the Bible makes a statement about Mary that I guess I still get kind of amazed at. And it says, and Mary pondered these things in her heart. Wouldn't it have been nice if God would have seen fit to give us instructions on raising teenagers? And watching Mary raise Christ during his teenage years. He'd give us instructions through His Word. But you know, it'd been nice to be able to read about that. But God saw fit, for whatever reason, leave that out through His life. But at the age of 30, we picked back up. But I want to tell you something about Miss Mary. She knew who her son was. But I'm going to tell you something else. She knew Him more than just her son. She knew Him as her Savior. Wow. She watched Him be mocked and ridiculed. Sought after to take His life. And the day would come and she watched Him. The marker of a trial, she watched Him crucified. And I thought about this statement from the cross that Jesus would make. And He would turn to the disciple that He loved. You'll find that over in John's writing. You know what He said to him? Woman, behold thy son. And then He looked at him and He said, behold thy mother. And John took her home with him, and he took care of her. But you want me to tell you something? I don't know how long Miss Mary lived after that. But she went home to be with her Lord. And she's being well taken care of today. We have earthly responsibility to take care of our parents. And sometimes we don't know what all that's going to entail. But I'll remind us of something about our mothers. They took care of us when we couldn't take care of ourselves. And what a privilege it is for us to take care of them when they're unable to do for themselves. That's a privilege and an honor. It's not a burden. I hear a lot of parents sometimes make this statement, I don't ever want to be a burden to my family. I think I could speak for most of you. There's a lot of you ladies here that have been so kind, and y'all took me in. I've got more adopted brothers and sisters than I'll ever know how to name them all, probably. Because of all the second mamas and daddies I've got. But I'm going to tell you, when you become a burden to your family is when you don't tell us what you need. Well, I just don't want to bother you. Your lack of communication is what bothers us. You're never a bother. Because I want to tell you, see, I don't remember a lot about when I was an infant. I hear people sometimes talk about things that, I'm like, how do you remember that? I wasn't even old enough to even remember. But I can't tell you what my bottle schedule was. Brother Scott, I imagine there was probably sometimes within the hours of 12 and 6, I probably woke my mama up hungry. I wonder how many times she thought, he's bothering me. I just got to sleep good. I'm not going to lie. When our twins were real small, one of them ate quicker than the other one. And I'm just not going to lie to you. I'll say, I'll get Sherry. Shelley took longer to eat. But I want to tell you something. Neither one of them, or even the oldest one, have ever been a bother. And I want to close it out with this morning. And isn't it wonderful to know we're not a bother to our Father? Boy, I'm thankful this morning. When I call upon God, I don't have to wonder, am I bothering Him? You know why? Because He boldly invites me to come. Ladies, there's a lot of times I'm afraid that mothers are very underappreciated. And there's a lot of things that you sacrifice as a mother. To the average person, they probably know nothing about. And I'm glad this morning, for those of you that sit here and you know the Lord is your Savior, isn't it wonderful to have God to call upon? Those times you get discouraged and down, isn't it good to be able to talk to God? And should there be one that's sitting here this morning that doesn't know the Lord as your Savior, you're missing out on help that could be so good for you. Because as good as you are this morning, you still need the Lord. Your family needs Him. Don't neglect Him. You can provide all the natural things for your family, but I'm going to tell you what they need most. That's the spiritual things. Don't deprive them of the greatest thing, and that's the Lord. And the best way to do that is to show them and teach them. You know something this morning? That virtuous woman, she led by example of what it is to have a God-fearing home. Because I believe there were times that no doubt her children didn't have to ask her what she is doing. They heard and saw Mama praying. I thought about a song that the Kingsmen years ago sang. Nothing like a dear old mama's prayer. Because I want to tell you something. Thank God for those hours that she spent and still does on our behalf. But I want to tell you, when you go and read John 17, there's one that's prayed for us that was greater, and that's Jesus. Oh, this morning, what a treasure it is to have a godly mother. If you haven't already this morning, don't you let the day get by. And you better look Mom in the eye and tell her you love her. And thank God for. May God bless you today will be our prayer while we stand and sing.